being a son of a father who gave his life for music. Um, you're constantly learning things. Yeah, sometimes you get people like that where they are doubtful, whether the song becomes a hit or not. Well, I work with people who understand me. People don't trust and feel, oh, it's not good or it's not this. So that actually is a problem. If they don't like something, it shows. I just scrap it straight away and say, like, let's do something else. I don't fight.
Hello and welcome to Digi Hunt. My name is Sandeep. Right now, I have with me someone who requires no introduction at all. Is an Oscar winner, and he's perhaps one of the biggest, and not perhaps, he is the biggest, and he's one of the best music directors that we have, not just in India, but people. There are music connoisseurs who are mad about him all across the globe. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the hugely talented Mr. AR Rahman with us. Salam Rahman Sab, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
At the very outset, I'd like to ask you this very Mission Pani anthem that you had all these little guys and girls you got them together and you got them to sing this entire song. What was the very idea and how did it germinate?
So, Mission Pani team contacted me, and I'm also part of many different things in the world. Like I'm doing something called Hands Around the World for climate change, and so it immediately struck a chord with me, and I felt like not only telling others, but our own team and our musical team or artists or anybody who's using water. Even after doing this, actually, when I open the tap, I'm very careful. Like I have to close it back. I have to this drop. So that whole thing in the mind, when to stop and how to see that what has been wasted, that comes across very well with this idea. And and the world is again going through this change where there are many things happening. There is geopolitics, there's this, there's that, there's division. But I think kids have this um, because it's their future. Because we might go, but they have to live the world which we live and go. So
Yes.
they are very careful about what world they're getting, and so their voices mean a lot in this song. And hence we decided to have children to sing this.
Okay. The fact that you are actually talking about, I mean, the world knows it for a fact that you have been delving into a lot of philanthropic work, and along with this song, you are kind of propagating conservation of water for that matter. And we have people talking about such serious matters for a long time. What kind of effect and what kind of a reach do you think this particular song would have on the audiences?
As I told you, it's very when you do some things with songs and with kids, I think the impact is much better because they are the future. And when something keeps coming again and again, because seem to forget. One day we want to do something good things, next day we forget. We are just bombarded with so many different things in lives, challenges, information, false information, true information, knowledge, gyan. And so a song, when it gets into a mind, might have a more lingering effect to force you to change, or in a subtle, beautiful way, rather than I'm telling you do this. Um, so that's why I think Prasun Joshi's beautiful lines and the way he constructed the songs, I hope it changes people to be more careful about how they use water and how they can think about various ways to conserve.
Raman Sab, I want to take you back to the time of Roja. I have been an ardent admirer of your work, and I mean, I'm sure you must have heard it from a lot of people who have spoken to you about your music. I mean, it has a transcendental effect. It takes the listeners to a different zone altogether, and all of that. But I'd like to say that Roja and the song from Bombay Tu Hire, and there are many other songs that have been literally milestones, and they have been moving marks on the lives of people who were perhaps growing up in those years, or they had something or the other which was perhaps important, and they could perhaps relate to the song in a way that they could kind of make the songs their own. So I'd like to ask you, I'm sure your music too has transitioned from that particular zone to this very day. How do you see the transition?
Um, See, for me, being in the film industry before I did Roja, 10 years, and being a son of a father who gave his life for music, um, you're constantly learning things, and you're constantly thinking how to adapt new things, yet have the soul of music, how to create new ways to express. So the music which I create is a combination of the director, lyricist, and the inspiration from the script. And so it keeps changing, and people evolve. At that particular time, that needed that kind of music, and we had so much of joy creating it. I'm still having a joyful when I'm creating new stuff with new teams and younger directors, younger lyricists, and younger artists. Things have changed so much, but the process is the same thing. It's always trying to discover something, to go to the unknown and see what could happen. It takes a lot of courage, patience, and sometimes it tests our patience too, other people's too. So that's the whole idea. It's never nothing is forced. Okay, I have to do this. I have to do this. And so far, I've been blessed that I could enjoy the process and still give the same thing to people.
So tell me, besides Mani Ratnam, I mean, you worked with a number of directors. Uh, the one question that keeps on lingering in my mind is, as far as the southern music industry is concerned, the music industry in totality is concerned. Uh, I mean, I'd say one of the finest music directors again is Mr. Ilayaraja, and I would say that I don't know. I mean, if you would perhaps have to describe his music, how would you do it?
I think every era has changed. I think I grew up in the transition. Like I was listening to MSV, Mr. Radan Ramurthy, KV Mahadevan, and I was working the All India Radio with Mr. T.R. Papa. Greats who were very so well versed with classical composition, folk, and propaganda. About family planning. I played for all that stuff before. Then I joined Mr. Raja, and then from there is when my life changed. After that, when I left his place, is when I began to discover myself. Playing in bands and doing commercials. I've told this many times. Is that it's important to discover ourselves. Like, what else can you do? Because every person gives their soul to the thing, and so you can never steal somebody else's soul. It has to be. You can never steal somebody else's soul. You can only be yourself, and that's the best way, simple way. And that is because your experiences are personal, and and your point of view is subjective, and that if it coincides with the masses or the people who listen to it, then there's success. If I'm on another tangent and what they want is something else, then there's a problem. Sometimes it takes time for people to get into this vibration, and so in my case, both the things happen. Sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't get it. They get it after 3 months or a year or two.
When we're talking about your music, the kind of the sound your music has, uh, the kind of ragas that you use in your music, they are not too much. I mean, the northern part of the country and the southern part of the country, both of them. I mean, I'm talking about the difference between the Carnatic music and those kind of sounds, and then you have, uh, you know. Different kinds of. I mean, for instance, if you take up Lakshmikant Pyare Lal or a Shankar Jaikishan music for that matter, it's like hugely different. So I mean, the fact that your music has kind of, is like a storm. I mean, when it comes to music, for that matter, with the Indian audiences. How did that happen? How did you manage to break that barrier between the southern kind of sounds and the very Bollywoodistic music, for that matter?
I was not forced by anybody to do copy anybody. And because my first movie got a national award and so many awards, when they came to me,
Yes,
they were open
exactly.
minded. Yeah, they were open minded. I said, "You do your own thing. That's why we love you. We don't want you to be something else." So, but I respect a lot of things which people have done. Naushad Saab, R.D. Burman, S.T. Burman, Madan Mohanji,
Hmm.
then Lashmikant Pyarlal. We grew up with all this amazing composers, and so you would find pieces of that influence definitely. But when there is a completely new new landscape of possibilities, we might as well explore that. Because the stories change, the sensibilities change from time to time, and sometimes you have to go back to that sensibility. For instance, if you take from Slumdog Millionaire, there's Ringa Ringa, and Ringa Ringa goes back to LP style of composition because it needed that kind of
Exactly, exactly.
soundtrack quality. And then there is, now recently I've done a song with my daughter Khadija Rahman called Farishto, and that
Okay.
goes back to the Naushad era, you know,
Okay.
and or Madan Mohan era. It can never be them, but you know that certain nuances come from that
Yes.
history, and it's inevitable because we grew up with that. At the same
Hmm.
time, what always shines is your own voice, your own personality, and it's because it comes naturally. My limitations are my pluses sometimes. For
What
every
do you mean by
artist,
that?
sometimes,
I mean,
yeah.
do you
So
actually?
Believe that there are any limitations as far as you are concerned? I mean, I seriously, I am on disbelief as far as that is concerned.
no, what I meant is, uh, if you take, certain people, they master in certain things. They go into the depths of that, and for instance, Kumar Gandharv Saab, like such a great
Hmm.
singer, and he never used to sustain notes, and because of his lack of, I think he's lost one of the lungs, and because of
Okay.
that, his sustains are all very short. And then I was wondering, what a great style, and because that's a limitation of his biological
Okay.
sense. In the later half, his performances were at that, and he adapted that, and charmingly, that shined so beautifully. It became different from other people. And I'm not comparing myself with the greats. I'm just saying that there's certain things which are, um, I think, because of how we, uh, you know, handle life, or um, our physical and biological limitations, our
Hmm.
psychological limitations. All these things actually influence the art, and we should embrace that, not be shy about it. Yes.
Okay. Tell me, Rahman Saab, ki, what kind of an influence does a director have on the music director, for that matter? I mean, the fact that, I mean, we have listened to wonderful, wonderful compositions by you from, I mean, from Mr. Money Stable, for that matter. Tell me, how does that equation work, and how does it work for you?
Um, Let me take an example of Ashutosh Gowarikar, and
Hmm.
so he is a visionary director, and
Hmm.
some of his movies have done very well. Some of them have not done well, but he has a great ear for music. He has a great ear for classic ideas, and he picks up something which no other director might pick up, because he has that heart to listen to something, and oh, I love this melody, and then he lives with it, and he says,
Okay.
let me use this. Same with if you take Mani Ratnamji, then he has a sense where he tries to go away from the conventional things, whether it's underscore or whether it's songs, and he says, I feel like this has come before. Let's go into this new direction, which excites me. So when you
Okay.
give something like that, it excites them also, because they have to listen to the song, I mean, probably 1,000 times more than us, because they have to do shot division and production design and choreography and camera work, and so they have to keep listening. So if they don't like something, it shows. So I make sure that if they're not happy, I just scrap it straight away and say, like, let's do something else. I don't
So
fight.
You what you're implying is the yes of a director is very important. I mean, you could perhaps go to the nethermost corners of your hearts and then cull out a tune. If that doesn't quite gel well with the director, it would be null and void for you too.
Correct, correct. I think mostly, first of all, I work with people who understand me and who understand my process. But like they are, they know that the music keeps changing till it's released. It keeps changing. There is stuff added, sometimes subtracted, and it's all a matter of trust. So if they trust me more, that's when things happen. When people don't trust and feel, oh, it's not good or it's not this, so that actually is a problem.
I get that. I get that.
Correct.
all
Sometimes
right.
you get people who are, yeah, sometimes you get people like that, where they are doubtful, whether the song becomes a hit or not. Because it's a collective thing, how we all
Yes.
collectively say. Sometimes the hook phrase comes from the director. And so they are a big part of the plan. Yeah.
Okay, now since this is my last question, I have two questions which I wanted to ask you. I've got to club it in one. What do you have to say about Imtiaz Ali? And my final question to you is, I mean, it's not a question, it's a request. I would want you to sing Tu Hire for me.
Imtiaz Ali is an artist inside. Even though he does a lot of commercial films, I see him sometimes go deep into a zone which is really, if you could see that in Rockstar or Highway or even Tamasha, the three films we've worked on. He's gone into places where not other people have gone, and so I love that zone when he zones out and goes into that. Which courageous. It's very courageous, and it's gratifying when you work with people who go much deeper into a zone. Yeah.
Guys, with that, we come to the end of this lovely, lovely conversation, a much awaited conversation with the one and the only Mr. AR Rahman. My name is Sandeep with DG Hunt. Thank you so much.